Alright guys, so this is the third starter clutch, which was by far the worst one. I suspected that both the bearings were shot, so I just pressed it out, and there's a lot of rust in here. The bottom bearing seems to be working, which is the same case as the other clutch, but it's really nasty looking. And the inside is the best, so I pressed it out on the press, and normally all the pieces would fall out. Spring looks nice. The cams actually look nice, but my suspicion is that maybe some water got in here at some point in time, because there's like this mixture of rust looking and stuff and grease in there. And so what I'm going to do is take these out. I want to make sure that all 21 are in here. Let's see, I've got 8 so far. 9, 10. Let's see. 11, 12. 13. Here's the other spring. Spring isn't that bad. 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Uh-oh, there's one missing. Maybe it fell out over by the press. I'll have to go check, but regardless, here's the deal, is that this bearing on this side is totally shot. It won't even turn one bit. And what I learned when I took it apart is that normally there's this washer here. This piece is normally on the top, and for some reason it was on the back. So I think that water was able to get into the bearing itself through the seal and just rust it up. So when I put it back together, I'll put this on the front here, but this should be simple. Since this bearing is pretty crappy too, I'm going to replace both of them. So I'll press my shaft off here. I'll clean up this shaft pretty nice. You know, maybe use some steel wool or something, just shine it up a hair, because it is pretty nasty. And this one should be good to go too. Alright. Well, I got the bearing out, and it is shot. And it does turn out that the 21st cam was on the floor right under the press, so I'm going to clean this up in here. There's a lot of garbage in there, so I'm going to spray it up with some like brake parts cleaner or something. Let it soak in the junk for a minute and then clean it up. And we'll press 2 new bearings in here. We'll clean up our pile of cams. We'll put it back together, and it should be good as new. Alright, so I got 2 new bearings on there, and they work nice. And now I want to point something out to you guys. The inside of this clutch housing is pretty pitted right over in that area, and it's also pitted on here. And I think what happened is that it was sitting around so long that the cams may have rusted to it. Like, see those marks there perpendicular to it, as if the cams actually rusted into the metal. I don't know if this is going to affect the outcome of how this works, but I'm going to put it back together, and we'll see what happens. Alright, well, I got all the cams in there and everything all cleaned up nice, and I'm going to bring it over to the press and press it in, and we'll see what happens, guys. Should be nice. Well, guys, it works out perfect here. We got plenty of grip, and the freewheel is fine. Turns the other way real nice. This thing is missing the little pin here to wrap a manual start on, so I'm probably going to put a grease zerk in there. And I've heard stories about guys that their clutches don't work and they greased it. Well, this hole doesn't actually go into the center of the clutch, it's bottoms out. So there's no way that even if you greased that zerk, it wouldn't go into the cam. So maybe that's a false rumor from people. But so all 3 of these clutches had issues with the bearings. And now we have 3 starter clutches that are like brand new, and we'll find some tractors to put them on, I guess. I hope you learned something from these 3 videos, and happy starter clutching.